A friend was abusing my kindness by shifting the care of her daughter to me. My friend shamelessly abused my kindness by constantly putting the care of her daughter on my shoulders. She skillfully manipulated my feelings, creating the illusion that she simply could not cope without my help. In the end, I was forced into the role of babysitter, even though I hadn't originally planned to take on that responsibility. My name is Monica, and I live in the picturesque town of Montgomery, Alabama. Here we have a cozy apartment near the center of town, which is bustling with life, but still maintains a sense of tranquility and privacy. The surrounding nature is a delight to the eye, with green parks and old buildings, creating a unique atmosphere of Southern charm. My husband Jason owns a small but successful interior design business. His work requires creativity and attention to detail. It allows us to live comfortably and provide our beloved daughter Lucy with everything she needs. Jason always finds time to support us and be involved in family life. Despite the busyness at work, Lucy is our little miracle. She is only 6 years old and is already showing great talents in many different areas. Every day when she comes home from school, her eyes light up with joy and enthusiasm. She loves singing, acting on stage, and drawing. I always try to support her hobbies, as it is important to me that she develops her abilities and finds herself in what she enjoys. One day, when I brought Lucy to another vocal lesson, I noticed a familiar face among the parents. It was Kelly, an old friend of mine whom we hadn't seen in years. She had moved back to Montgomery after going through a painful divorce. Her ex-husband, a fitness trainer, had turned out to be a real traitor. He'd left her for another woman, leaving Kelly alone with their young daughter Mary. My heart squeezed with sympathy. Kelly and I had once been inseparable, and now, seeing her again, I felt that nothing had changed between us. We stood there in the schoolyard, surrounded by noise and bustle, but it was as if the world had stopped for us. We exchanged a warm hug, and immediately a wave of memories of our past came flooding back. Our school years, our walks together, our endless conversations about dreams and plans for the future. After class, we chatted for a while, reminiscing about old times, laughing about our teenage adventures and sharing news from the past few years. I suggested that she spend time together after our girls' class. Kelly gladly accepted the offer, and so began our new friendship. We started seeing each other almost daily. Our children played together, and we chatted about life, shared news and memories. Time flew by, and each meeting brought joy. Everything was going great until one day Kelly approached me with an unusual request. "Monica, I have an important meeting tonight," she said with hope in her voice. "Could you take Mary to class? I'll bring her to you." Her voice was so sincere and full of expectation that I couldn't refuse. Who could refuse to help a friend in her time of need? I agreed, and we agreed that I would pick up both girls after class and bring them to my house, and Kelly would pick up Mary afterward. This incident was the beginning of a new tradition. Gradually, the requests became more frequent, and soon I was driving Mary to and from class to our house. I didn't pay much attention to it, thinking that I was helping my friend to cope with a difficult time in her life. As time went on, however, things began to get out of hand. Such requests began to recur with enviable regularity. First twice a week, then 3 or 4 times, and soon Mary was at our house almost every day. Kelly stopped even apologizing, as if it were a matter of course. Of course, I understood that she was having a hard time coping on her own, but it was getting to be too much. Besides, her daughter wasn't exactly the calm type. When Mary showed up at our house, it was chaos. I realized she's just a kid, but she had no boundaries. She would go so far apart that sometimes it was even scary. Dishes would break, furniture would break, and it was as if it was all unintentional. Mary could run around the house, jumping on the couch, dropping toys and books, leaving a trail of destruction behind her. It got to the point where the children would quarrel among themselves and fight. Lucy, being more reserved, tried to be patient, but her patience also had limits. Sometimes I could see her struggling to keep from crying when Mary broke her favorite toys or treated her roughly. It pained me to see this, for I knew how important it was to Lucy that our home should be a calm and safe environment. Every morning, as I packed Lucy off to school, I would catch myself thinking that it was going to be another hard day. When I came home, I had an idea of the mess I would make. Mary had managed to turn the whole house upside down in just a couple hours, and although I understood that babies need attention and care, I felt that this situation was out of line. Mary's behavior clearly indicated that the baby had problems. Gradually, Tension began to build up inside me. I tried to remain calm, but deep down, resentment was growing. Why should I spend my time and energy on someone else's child, and even suffer the destruction of my own home? After all, I had my own responsibilities and needs to fulfill. I couldn't say no to Kelly, because every time she asked for help, she looked at me with a look of hope that made my heart squeeze. Or she'd call almost begging, and I couldn't say no. Of course I agreed, primarily because of the baby, Mary. Even though the situation was spiraling out of control, I couldn't leave the little girl without support. Deep down, I believed that sooner or later, Kelly would pull herself together and start coping on her own. And my husband began to wonder why someone else's child was in our home all the time. Jason didn't understand why I was spending so much time helping Kelly, especially since we had our own family and things to do. He hinted repeatedly that he hated to see Mary destroying our home. Every morning when he left for work, he would see chairs overturned, toys scattered and broken, which made him increasingly irritated. Jason was tired of the constant presence of someone else's child, who sometimes behaved quite aggressively. He noticed how Lucy's mood changed when Mary was with us. Instead of joyful play and laughter, our daughter became withdrawn and nervous, avoiding conflict but unable to relax in her own home. Mary just doesn't know how to behave normally, Jason said when we were alone. I realize she's a little girl, but this is out of line. Our daughter deserves better. Why should we sacrifice our comfort for someone else? When I told Kelly about Mary's aggression, she sighed and admitted that her daughter was acting out because of their divorce from her husband. According to her, Mary felt strongly about her parents' separation and had anger that she couldn't always put into words. Kelly explained that the divorce was long and painful, so the girl often releases her emotions through aggression and disobedience because she doesn't know any other way to cope with the pain. I realized that Mary is not a bad girl at all, but just a child who needs help and support. Even so, I still felt that Kelly should take control of the situation and take charge of her daughter's education. I suggested that maybe she should see a counselor. A professional could help understand Mary's feelings and suggest ways to deal with the situation. I think this could make communication much easier and help Mary feel better. One day, as I was walking down the street coming back from shopping, I happened to run into Kelly's mom. We stopped to exchange a few phrases, and I, trying to find support, gently asked if they saw their granddaughter often. Kelly's mom shrugged and replied that they didn't have time to help their daughter. That phrase sounded shocking to me. No one cares about the child, not the grandparents or the birth mother. It turned out that all the burden of care fell solely on my shoulders, since Mary practically lived with us. This encounter got me thinking. Why should I sacrifice my time, effort, and even the safety of my own home in order to help my friend, when her own parents are not even trying to get involved in the process of upbringing? These questions swirled around in my head, causing a sense of injustice and fatigue. This was the last straw of patience for me. I realized it was time to have a serious talk with Kelly. In the evening, after the kids went to bed, I invited her over for a cup of coffee. We settled in the kitchen, and I tried to calmly but firmly explain that while I understood how difficult this was for her, I couldn't continue to take responsibility for her child. I wanted her to find a way to manage the situation on her own, maybe seek professional help or take some time management courses. Look, Kelly, I began, trying to speak softly but firmly. I really want to help you, but I need you to realize that I have my own life, my own responsibilities and needs. I can't take care of your daughter indefinitely. You need to learn to plan your time and prioritize. Maybe you should consider seeing a specialist or enrolling in a course to help you organize your day better. Kelly's response was unexpectedly harsh. She said that I just didn't want to help her, that I didn't have anything to do all day, so it wasn't hard for me to drive Mary to her classes. It pissed me off. I couldn't believe she thought that about me. How could she assume that I don't have my own business and responsibilities? After all, not only do I keep the house in order, but I am actively involved in our daughter's life, involved in her education and development. That's when my husband, Jason, decided to step in. He suggested that Kelly meet on neutral ground to discuss the situation. At the meeting, he explained that if she really wanted things to improve, she needed to take responsibility for her child. If she didn't, he would have to take action. Look, Kelly, Jason said, looking her straight in the eye. We understand that this isn't easy for you right now, but you can't rely on others forever. You have to start taking care of your baby on your own. If you can't do that, then we're going to have to look at other options. Those words sounded harsh but fair. Kelly was shocked at this turn of events. She sat silently with her head down, apparently thinking about what she had said. She finally seemed to realize the gravity of the situation. Perhaps this conversation was the impetus for her to change. Eventually, Kelly decided to make a change. She enrolled in a time management course to learn how to better organize her time and handle things. She also started actively looking for a job to ensure financial stability and to be able to devote more time to her daughter. She now tutors Mary on her own, and our visits are much less frequent, but they are joyful again. I am glad that I was able to help my friend, but I am also glad that she is now taking responsibility for her life and her daughter. Sometimes you have to set boundaries, even when it comes to close friends. After all, true friendship is built on mutual respect and support, not on taking advantage of someone else's kindness. I am sure that through these challenges our friendship has grown stronger and more aware. We both realize that it is important to appreciate each other and help each other, but at the same time to remain true to ourselves and our principles.